In Italian, cacciatore means the hunted. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a traditional cacciatore dish. About a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. We're gonna get the skillet good and hot. And really, we're gonna make a nice chicken cacciatore today. And I'm thinking comfort food, you know, something that's really nice, something that's easy on the wallet. We're gonna go with thigh meat chicken, which to me is it's a great economical cut of meat, and it's loaded with flavors. It's a really, really good, flavorful piece of meat. So I've cleaned that up. I've actually taken probably about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of chicken thigh meat, and I've taken it off the bone, taken the skin off. You can leave a little bit of the fat on there though, because the fat adds a lot of nice flavor to that too, and that's gonna help to add more to the dish as well. So when you're cleaning it up, and then I just diced it into maybe like about 3/4 to 1 inch diced pieces, little strips almost. And you'll see that in the pan as we're cooking it. So we'll get this oil going. Really what I wanna do is I wanna throw some herbs in there. This is fresh basil, by the way. Get that sauteing. And I threw probably about a good 1/4 cup. I love that. See, I'm going to add some garlic too. I love that good tablespoon of fresh minced garlic. I love the aromatics that the fresh herbs give off when you saute them right from the beginning. So then what I want to do now is I'm going to let that kind of come up a little bit. We're going to throw our veggies in. What I have here is I have 1 bell pepper cleaned and diced into probably about 1 inch dice, I'd say. And then I did the same with a nice sweet white onion. And we'll throw those in there and get those sauteing up a little bit. And also, this is the stage of the game where I want to add my crushed red pepper. Now, I know if you don't like the heat, you don't have to worry about it. You can just add, you can omit this if you want, but I'm a big fan of it. I think it adds another layer of flavor. And it doesn't have to be overly hot. So I'm going to add, right here, I just kind of sprinkled in a little bit, a couple pinches, maybe 1/2 teaspoon total. And I've got some fresh chopped parsley I'm going to throw in there too. Again, helps to develop those aromatics that come out with the oil. And really, right now we're just sweating down the peppers and the onions. You want those to be really well cooked in the cacciatore. That's a big part of the stew. And that's really what cacciatore means, is the hunter in the stew. So we're gonna add that chicken in there now. And you don't really have to worry about browning it up so much, but you wanna render some of that fat that's in there and get it to cook. And just kind of separate the chicken in the pan, just so that way there you can get that good sear mark on it. If you keep it all bunched up together, it's going to take a long time to cook. You really kind of want to spread it out. That's why I'm using a nice big pan too, by the way. This is going to be enough for about 4 people, so you always want to make sure you're cooking in the right size pan. Spread it out. And I also have some baby portobellos or some cremini mushrooms, which are my favorite. We'll throw those in there too. And that's probably a small container's worth. And I just quartered them. I took a knife to them and cut them into quarters. All right, so I've got some thyme here, and I'm going to put some thyme in. And I've got now this is dried. If you can find the fresh, I would prefer the fresh. But I'm going to put probably about a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, and the same thing for oregano. Probably about a 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 of a teaspoon of oregano. If you can find the fresh, that would be preferred also. But I was able to get fresh basil and fresh parsley. But I'm using the dried just to kind of bring the flavors together. Nothing wrong with dried. But one thing I think I've said before in an episode, when you're using fresh versus dried, you want to use twice as much on the fresh as you would the dried herb. All right, now it's deglazing time. So we've let this kind of brown up a little bit. All the veggies are starting to sweat out just a tiny bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the red wine. We've got a nice cab that we're featuring today. And I'm going to add a good amount. There we go. We're going to add about 1 cup to that, and we're going to let that come down. Bring that up to a simmer and let it reduce down. And what that's going to do is it's going to take those beautiful bits off the bottom of the pan and add that into the flavor of the sauce. All right, so now we're going to add our tomato product. And I've got a nice plethora of delicious tomatoes here. I have my San Marzano peeled tomatoes. And I'm going to add the whole can to that. And then I've got some nice diced tomatoes. I'm going to add that. And then what we do now is, at this stage of the game, we're going to let this cook down just a good 15-20 minutes. It might not be a bad idea to have a little bit of chicken stock on hand just in case it starts to get a little bit thick, or you can always add a little more wine to it. Unless, if you don't want the strong wine flavor, the chicken stock's the best way to go. But at this stage of the game, we're just gonna let it cook now, slow and low. It's gonna take probably about 20 minutes, and all the tomatoes and all the chicken's gonna come to life, and everything's gonna come together. It's gonna be absolutely incredible. So the music you're listening to is our friends in Alekhine's Gun, and it is Vengeance Palden Lhamo. And it's off of their album Meditations in Wrath. Check out their Facebook fan page right here. Now, as you can tell, we've let this cook down for probably about 15 minutes or so. Sauce is nice and thick. One of the things I said off camera just a few minutes ago was that I would add, well actually I was on camera technically, but I would add butter to it if it needed it. You don't have to, especially if you're trying to keep it a little bit healthier. You don't have to, but it definitely adds something to a pasta dish, there's no doubt about it. Finish a little swirl of butter at the end, oh, it's phenomenal. So, but it does need one last thing, and I've got the edge right here. So I'm gonna add, for this amount, probably about a tablespoon of the edge total. And that's gonna help to kind of bring it all together. I can smell the difference already. So now we're just gonna kind of stir that in. We definitely don't wanna add, you don't wanna not stir it and just add it right to the pasta. You wanna make sure it goes all through the whole stew. Oh yeah. Let's see how it is now. Oh yeah. Oh man. How's your tailgate doing? All right, so serving time. Now, like I said, I've got these noodles here that I cooked up ahead of time. And they're nice and sticky, which is good. Because you want that sauce to cling to them. So I'm gonna pile it on there. Then look at all of this love. Look at the chicken all nice. It's almost like pulled pork. It's starting to fall apart. Oh, cooking it slow and low is the deal. And you can let it go even slower if you wanted to. You can, put it down in, like I said, in a crock pot maybe, and let it go for hours. And it's only going to get better. But like I said, you want to watch that liquid content. If you have to add a little chicken stock to it, see, we don't have to here because we added plenty of tomato product. But if you wanted to add a little chicken stock to it, you sure could. So the wine that we chose today is the Alamos. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon 2011 vintage, and we chose this because it goes right with the chicken. It cuts right through the acids and the onions and the garlic. It's a nice bold flavored red wine. We actually use this to deglaze the chicken, which is perfect. So with that being said, we wanted to thank you for checking out the show, joining us in our magic, our madness, and our mayhem. We'll see you next time.